Edgar Allan Poe was born January 19 in 1809 and died October 7, 1849. He lived only 40 years, but during his brief lifetime, he made a permanent place for himself in American literature and also in world literature. He was an American writer, poet, critic, and editor best known for evoking short stories and poems that capture the imagination and interest of readers around the world. This Edgar Allan Poe story has many of the characteristics typical of his works. It is written as a first-person confession, has a creepy mood, and a haunting ending. The narrator begins by explaining that he has always loved animals. Pluto, this large cat, was the narrator's favorite. He found himself mistreating his wife and his pets, although he refrained from hurting Pluto in any way. One night, after a great deal of drinking, the narrator found that Pluto seemed to be avoiding him, which made him angry. He took a penknife from his pocket and plucked it out on one of Pluto's eyes. One day, he put a rope around its neck and hung it from a tree just because he could and because he deserved to be deemed a sinner. Once again, the man felt some guilt over what he had done and searched to find a replacement cat. This cat also appeared to be missing one of its eyes. One day, the two of them were walking into the basement of their building, when the cat, always between his feet, caused him to trip. The narrator grabbed an axe which lay nearby and lifted it to drive it into the cat's head. By accident, he killed his wife. He found a felt chimney from which he could remove some bricks and insert the body inside. On the fourth day, a group of policemen came unexpectedly to search the house. As the men were completing their tour of the cellar and preparing to leave, the narrator, in his excitement, told them how well constructed the house was, and even hid the wall where he had buried his wife with a can. This knock caused a cry to come from within the wall, which groped into a hole. It scared the narrator, who backed away, but the police began to pull down the bricks. The rotting corpse still stood where he had left it, but upon its head sat the one-eyed cat whom he had accidentally well up to and who had half given away his secret.
The fall of the House of Usher. The protagonist arrived at the gloomy and sad place to visit a colleague of adolescence, Roderick Usher, at request of himself. He suffered a strange illness that prevented him to leaving home, dedicating himself to cultivate the rarities of art and music. His illness consists on an extremely delicate sensibility in his five senses. Usher predicted his own death, and his sister too, Lady Madeline, who was suffering from a strange disease. Shortly after, Usher confessed to the protagonist that his sister had died. In spite of everything, the two friends continued doing things around art. On the other hand, Usher managed to preserve unearthed body of his sister in the crypt. Then they buried Lady Madeline. One night, when the protagonist couldn't sleep, was called by Usher, who had heard screams. That now he had realized that it was his sister, who was buried alive, full of blood and with torn clothes. Madeline walked towards her brother and falls dying on him. Usher died of terror, as he had predicted. Filled with horror, the narrator fell in terror from the spooky house, and as he walked away, he saw how the old mansion suddenly begins to collapse and disappear into the turbid waters of the surrender lake.